otherwise whatsoever intended doing this. It was a fairly quiet day on the US market yesterday, apart from a few stocks. We have Meta Platforms that owns Facebook, testing minor resistance here at 688.65. Positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating we are likely to see it crawl higher towards all-time highs. Whereas Tesla got a bit of a beating, 4% down, just above the minor support here at 325. We had still positive sentiment on the RSI, but as you can see here, the RSI values declined here, and the market moved higher. So it is indicating we're likely to see a setback. We could see a setback down to around 300 to 95 maybe, where we have some support. We have the 100 coming up here, and the 200 and the 55. So a bit of setback should be expected for in the coming days and weeks. As mentioned, the broad markets were fairly calm, unchanged basically. The S&P 500 just around this support resistance here at 5,968. We are in a bullish trend. It did make a higher level here above this spike up here a few weeks ago. However, we can see that the RSI is really struggling to confirm. I think we will see a fairly positive market until maybe early mid next week. The Dow Jones index, let's have a look at that. A little bit lower, still in this range here between 42,841 and 41,414. And finally, Nasdaq actually did close a little bit higher, but also here you can see RSI divergence warming up to a correction unless we push higher here in the coming days and into next week. So let's see about that. Still bullish as long as we stay above these support levels here at 20,613. Asian session this morning, we have Hang Seng testing the previous peak here at 23,917. Excuse me. Just a few cents below it actually. Let's see there, high 20,911. So just a few cents below. We are in a bullish trend. RSI closing above the 60 threshold, indicating likely high levels. I think we'll see Hang Seng pushing towards the previous all-time high, the highs here at 24,875. Nikkei didn't really do much, a little bit setback, but still in this big range here, so not much to say really. Moving on to European markets, we have the EuroStoxx50 that has just opened when I record this, a little bit higher here. It needs to take out the 5,437 and RSI to close back above 60 threshold. Then I think we'll see a push towards previous all-time highs here, just below 5,600. The DAX index pushing higher now and is very close to cancel this top and reversal pattern here. If it closes, DAX closes above 24,326, then it has cancelled this top and reversal pattern. That was fairly quick if it does that. So keep an eye on that, but it's certainly warming up to it. So let's see here the next few days. Moving on to the FX market, and euro dollar still slowly crawling higher. Not that convincing, but we are in a bullish trend, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. But we talked about it yesterday. It will be not a sprint apparently. It will be crawling a little bit higher. I think if it takes out 6 retracement at 146.50 here, then I think we'll see it pushing higher and towards 116, 117. Sterling dollar also a little bit higher if it takes out, which I believe it will, the 135.95, especially 136, then we could see a push above 137, but it's still a little bit up in the air. If it breaks below 134.15, then we have a different situation. The uptrend has reversed. Euro sterling really still this range here between 84.65 and 83.55. That should be observed. It's a fairly broad range, but that's how it is at the moment. Also, yen pairs fairly calm. a lot of volatility basically the past few days within this range here. You can see more or less the same range 3 days in a row. Sell off yesterday, bouncing a little bit still. 142, 149, 98 is the low. There's some support here that should be observed. If it does close below and RSI back below 40 threshold, then expect a push towards 140 and a quarter, possibly lower. The euro yen, not much to say there really. We are still in this massive range here, not really doing much. So I would just repeat myself what I've said the past few weeks. There's really no clear direction on euro yen. Aussie yen needs to close above a 93.90. That little spike up there and above the 100 moving average. We are in a positive sentiment, as you can see. We had the RSI lastly was above 60 threshold, and if it moves back above, well, then expect a push up to 95.75, possibly higher. Support at 91.65 and 90.60 down here. So, excuse me. Let's see how this plays out at the moment, but for now, a bit range bound. Sterling Canada that got rejected. Sorry, sterling yen that got rejected here at the peak 196.40. That is the level to take out that peak up there to push towards 190, 190, 200. Slowly bullish trends. But not that convincing. However, we are above all moving averages. We are above the cloud. Positive sentiment on the RSI. Should see it push higher, but it's not that convincing to say the least. Aussie dollar crawling higher. Maybe we should have a retest of the peak up here, and we can see the lows here are higher and higher. The peaks here are slightly higher. So we could see a test of 65.50 eventually. Positive sentiment on the RSI, 55 moving average, and the 100 pushing higher, whereas the 200 still weighing on it. So it will be a little bit of a struggle, but I think it will slowly get there. The dollar Canada, we talked about yesterday that it could, despite showing some downtrending source, it could dip to the 136.75, 136.50, and it did this morning. As we can see, 136.52 at the moment. We can see there's some support here. We also have here on the weekly the rising trend line. RSI on both daily and weekly are in negative sentiment, and we could see a push lower for dollar Canada if it takes out 136.45 here and the lower rising trend line. Well, then there is actually room down to around 134, 135, where we have the 200 weekly moving average coming up, giving some support. Sterling Canada, short term, is dancing sideways out of this rising trend line there. Still positive slightly, maybe it's a false break, but we have lower level there than here, so we actually established a little bit of a short-term bearish trend. I think we could see it correcting lower towards to 184, maybe down to 183 before bouncing. The interesting part here is that the 55 moving average has started declining, the 100 is still up, so we could be boxed in this area here for quite some time. Swiss franc, Euro Swiss still in this range here we talked about for so long, between 93 and 94 and a quarter, so not much to talk about. It's fairly quiet on the FX market in general. We have dollar Swiss hugging the line, oscillating around the 81, 85 here. We are in a bearish trend, negative sentiment, should push lower. We can also see all moving averages decline. We are below the cloud. I think it's just a matter of time. However, if it does break back above and close above 83.50, we could see a counter trend towards 85. The dollar index, more or less the same picture as dollar Swiss, really hogging this line here at 98.68. Bearish trend, no divergence, indicating lower levels, but there's nothing giving here, so there's no certainty. So let's see about that. Moving on to gold, that is hovering around the 786 retracement here at 3,368. We are still in a bullish trend, higher high, higher low, higher high. Excuse me. If RSI closes back above 60 threshold, then I think we'll see a push higher towards the peak here at 34.35, possibly higher towards 3,500. The silver spots was pausing a little bit, but positive sentiment on the RSI indicating likely higher levels, and if it takes out $35, then I think we'll see it pushing higher towards 35.75, maybe even 36. Platinum is pushing higher here, paused a little bit here 2 days ago at the 61.8 retracement. I think we are on the move to 11.30, 11.35. We can see here on the weekly 11.35, possibly higher 11.30, high 30s, 11.40, maybe even 11.80 in this strong move here where we had a little bit of correction. Seems to push higher. Copper, on the other hand, is not that convincing. Yes, it closed above the minor resistance at 489, but RSI didn't close above 60 threshold. As we speak, however, we are seeing RSI above 60 threshold. We see copper crawling higher. So if that's also the situation at the end of the day, then we have a confirmed uptrend with potential higher towards 525. These peak area over here could be in the mix. On the energy side, still range bound here for the WTI crude between 60 and 65. We have Brent crude oil, basically the same picture. A resistance here at 66.81 that should be broken for upside potential, but then we have some resistance there at 68.68. So if it takes out the lows there from the 30th of May at 62.55, well, then downtrend will resume. The EU nat gas sideways range here between the 33.70 and 37.85. We need to adjust this a little bit. There we are. So here we are. That's the range just below 38. The US nat gas also, it's actually a big range here between 384 and 310 on the Henry Hub US nat gas. Moving on to the yields, US 10-year Treasury yield. We talked about it the past few days. I could see it drop down to the 61.8 retracement at 431. And the 55 moving average coming up will give us up to, I think we'll see a dip down and then a bounce, because we have the 200 moving average coming up here. Still positive sentiment on the RSI. So we are in for a correction. The interesting part here is that the 100 is declining. So we could be boxed in here for quite some time. But I think we could see a dip down to that level there. The 2-year, really not much to talk about, between 380 and 403. On the European, sorry about that, let's just move to the European one. Here we are. The European 10-year, EU 10-year, still above the 249, bouncing a little bit. That's the if it takes out the lows here we saw a few days ago at 248 to be exact, then we are looking at 243, but for now we are bouncing a little bit. However, we have the 55 moving average coming down there, but positive sentiment on the RSI could turn around a bit. On the UK 10-year, well, it actually closed below the support here yesterday at 460, bouncing a little bit today, was very close to the 61.8 retracement. Could still do it, but here the next few days, and maybe even to 450. But for now, a little bit of bounce. So keep an eye. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, then expect the UK 10-year to drop further. And then on the cryptos, Bitcoin really not doing much, still in this correction phase, could correct down to around 102, 101 maybe. but if it drops below 100, then we are in for a larger move. However, there's no divergence on the RSI, and it's still in a positive sentiment. I think we'll see it crawl higher here in the coming days, but it needs to take out 106,900, this spike up there. If it does that, then I think we'll see it pushing higher. Bitcoin also just sideways range, so not much really there. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day, and talk to you again later.